After a February hiatus, I am back, everyone. And boy, do we have some stuff to talk about. Final Fantasy XVI has received an overwhelming amount of news today. So much so that I don't even know where to begin. Recently, various journalists from the press were able to travel to various locations in order to try Final Fantasy XVI ahead of time. They were able to play 3 different sections of the game, and over 45 minutes of gameplay footage has gone public, as well as some brand new details surrounding the game. The good news is all of these previews have been overwhelmingly positive, with people having some extremely pleasant words to have about the game. And while I was not one of the lucky few chosen to play the game early because Square Enix hates being based, I still have plenty of news to share with you guys. First and foremost, Final Fantasy XVI has 11 hours worth of cutscene. This also doesn't include things like mid-fight cutscenes, so this is going to be one meaty game. Yoshi P says that Final Fantasy XVI is not open world, but it's also not linear either. It's a third secret thing. With Yoshi P saying, quote, "In past interviews, I have mentioned that Final Fantasy XVI is not an open world game. What exactly does that mean? Does that mean it's linear? Again, not exactly. To bring players a wide variety of environments in the highest quality possible, and ultimately enhancing game experience, we selected several areas that we wanted to focus on, and create those in extreme detail. We wanted to take full advantage of the PlayStation 5's power to create a massively detailed world that was only possible in a video game." This is what he's alluded to in the past, but it is great to hear in explicit language. Final Fantasy XVI is not going to be linear or open world. It is a game that realizes that there is a balance in between the two, a careful balance that many Final Fantasy games in the past and many games outside of FF in the present continue to maintain. And I think it's that balance between having large zones and being able to sort of warp across the world, instead of having the world be one really big island as it is in most open world games. As Yoshi P insisted, this is a game that has to be done on PlayStation 5, with absolutely seamless loading from moment to moment, as can be seen in the 45 minutes of gameplay footage, where without any visible load screens, the game continues to go from one massive set piece to the next. It is an incredibly impressive feat, and one that is likely only possible with the solid-state drive. And you may think, yeah, well, my PC could definitely play this game. And I believe you. I bet your 4090 could run this game better than a PS5 could. However, it's going to be some time. Yoshi P says just because the exclusivity deal is 6 months long doesn't mean that the game is coming to PC 6 months later. The reason for this is that he says that optimization is going to take a bit of time, and he wants the game to run extremely well on PC. He does want the game to come to PC and feels that it eventually will, however, it's going to take much longer than 6 months for the game to do so. So in other words, unless you want to wait a year or longer to play Final Fantasy XVI, it's probably not worth it. And PS5s are starting to get really easy to find as well, so I'm pretty sure you can find one somewhere out there. What you may also find interesting is that the game only has one difficulty mode. Takes me back to the Final Fantasy days of old. But essentially, if you want the game to be easier, they have equipment that you can use to make the game easier. And this will automatically handle things for you like dodging and doing combos, etc. It's optional and it's not something that I or most of you will be using. However, there are 2 hard modes. One of them is called Final Fantasy and it unlocks after you beat the game, and an even harder difficulty after that called Ultimania. These are excellently picked names. I can't get over that the name of the game's hard mode is called Final Fantasy. Now, looking at all the footage from this game, you may think that this is loaded with action game stuff, but I want to see the RPG side of the game. And you, my friend, are in luck. As via a translation from @TurquoiseHammer, Yoshida says that the next batch of info will focus on the game's RPG elements, bases, shopping, weapons, armor, side content, the general gameplay loop, and what challenges await once the game is cleared. Such lateral slice explanations and videos will be released around April, so you won't have to wait long to get more FF16. There is also a public demo coming, again via Turquoise Hammer. Final Fantasy XVI's public demo demo is slated to be released roughly 2 weeks before the game's full release, somewhere around June 6th. Releasing it a month or so beforehand would allow too much time for the hype to die down, says Yoshida. They want the promotion to end with a bang. And indeed, a demo is a great way to do it. I do kind of wish that it came a little bit beforehand, but you can absolutely bet that when the demo does drop, we'll be streaming it over on my Twitch channel. When looking at Final Fantasy XVI and everything that we've gotten of it so far, this game is looking absolutely stellar, and I cannot wait to play it with you guys on June 22nd, 2023. Shout out to patron Annie and the rest of the Ultima community.